Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're breaking down an absolutely historic match. We are diving into the Iberian Derby, that phenomenal round of 16 clash at AT&T Stadium in Dallas on July 6, 2026. This was a game where, incredibly intense tournament stakes collided head-on with a truly legendary farewell, wrapping up with Spain taking it 1-0 over Portugal.
All right, let's get right into the story here, because we're really looking at a fascinating dual narrative that played out on the pitch. For almost the entire match, it honestly looked like Portugal was going to survive just an absolute onslaught. So, on one side of the coin, we've got Spain's incredibly dramatic last-minute triumph, and on the exact opposite side, the heartbreaking reality of Cristiano Ronaldo's final World Cup moment. His legendary career on the global stage ultimately comes to a close as Spain snatches that late victory.
So, Act 1, the Iberian Derby stakes, a tense tactical battle. The first 90 minutes of this one perfectly captured the grueling, razor-thin margins you expect in an Iberian Derby. It was an extremely tense affair in Dallas. You could literally feel the looming fear of a penalty shootout hanging heavily over both teams the longer the clock kept ticking. Tactically, it was a complete contrast. Spain looked like one of the tournament's most complete teams, right? They thoroughly dominated possession, with Yamal absolutely tormenting the Portuguese defense with his runs. Meanwhile, Portugal was essentially playing a game of pure survival. They were defending incredibly deep, just trying to weather the storm and relying purely on counterattacks. Ronaldo found a few touches, and Gonçalo Ramos managed to fire off some shots, but Spanish goalkeeper Unai Simon was an absolute rock, making some really solid saves to shut them down.
But here's the thing, despite all of that Spanish dominance, there was one massive problem: the missing final product. Spain was completely dictating the tempo, and Yamal was relentless out there, but La Roja simply could not break through that Portuguese defense to actually find the back of the net. Every single wave of attack was eventually repelled, keeping the score stubbornly locked at a 0-0 stalemate.
Moving on to Act 2, stoppage time drama and glory. The breakthrough. As the clock ticked past the 90-minute mark, the tension in the stadium was, well, it was absolutely suffocating. Both teams were totally exhausted, fans were literally on the edge of their seats, and it felt like everyone was just bracing themselves for the inevitability of extra time and penalties. But then, at exactly 90 plus 3 minutes, Spain shattered the deadlock and made history. In the absolute dying seconds of stoppage time, they finally found the magic they'd been searching for all night long.
And this match-winning sequence? It was an absolute masterclass, orchestrated entirely by the Spanish substitutes. Let's break it down. First, Ferran Torres delivers this absolutely gorgeous through pass, just threading the needle right through the tired Portuguese lines. Next, Mikel Merino receives it with an incredibly composed first touch, setting himself up perfectly even under immense pressure. And finally, Merino slots home the match-winning finish in added time. A brilliant assist, a beautifully composed strike, and just like that, boom, it's 1-0.
The aftermath was just a picture of pure, contrasting emotion. The roar from the Spanish fans inside AT&T Stadium was deafening. You had Yamal sprinting all the way across the pitch to celebrate this monumental breakthrough. But meanwhile, on the other side, the Portugal players immediately grabbed their heads in absolute despair, realizing their tournament survival was slipping through their fingers in the blink of an eye.
Which brings us to Act 3, Farewell to a Legend, the end of an era.
As the final whistle blew, officially sealing Spain's 1-0 victory, the whole tone in the stadium immediately shifted. Right amidst the Spanish celebration, this heavy, kind of melancholy reality started setting in. Cristiano Ronaldo stood on the pitch, just staring down at the ground. This was the end of his final chapter on the World Cup stage. And when you really look at the sheer, staggering weight of his legacy, it's just incredible. I mean, at 41 years old, just stepping onto the pitch at this tournament is legendary in its own right. He's played in 6 World Cups, he has scored 10 World Cup goals, and he holds the insane distinction of being the first player ever to score in 6 different World Cup tournaments. That is a resume that fundamentally changed the sport forever.
Following the match, Ronaldo offered these words: "I have given everything for Portugal. I have no regrets. This was my last World Cup." It's a really profound statement of closure from a player who practically carried his nation's hopes on his back for over 2 decades. It just confirms the sheer magnitude of this final chapter.
So the really crucial point to take away from all this is simply this. Regardless of what critics might say about his career ending with a late loss or, ending with a whimper as a substitute scored the winner against his team, what Cristiano Ronaldo has done for Portuguese football is entirely unprecedented. He elevated his entire nation on the global stage, and for sure, his impact is going to be felt for generations to come.
But as one huge chapter closes, the tournament marches on.
With this July 6th victory, Spain officially advances. Over the next 24 hours, they're going to be watching very closely as the winner of the Belgium versus USA match is decided, because whoever comes out on top there, that team will be Spain's opponent in a massive quarterfinal clash next week.
And that brings this explainer to a close. Spain survives an absolute thriller, and we bid farewell to a true footballing giant. Now, I really want to hear your thoughts. Who do you think takes the quarterfinal between Spain and the winner of Belgium and the USA? And as we reflect on the end of a true era, what is your absolute favorite Cristiano Ronaldo World Cup memory? Drop your thoughts and let's keep the conversation going.